requests Board of Education of Ontario Central Schools District to reject the bookend plan or any plan that is not responsible to the study and its recommendations and blatantly disregard for financial burden borne by the property owners in our school district and more specifically the town of Olive. Be it further resolved that we strongly encourage the Ontario Board of Ed to seek solutions that will exhibit physical responsibility as well as to keep the town of Olive children together. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to each member of the Ontario School Board of Ed, Superintendent Phyllis McGill, and the supervisor in each of the school district's member towns.
Have a second?
Second. Discussion? First of all, this goes back many years before Peter was really involved, not only because you're young, and Donnie. But I sat through numerous meetings with school board, school attorneys, school superintendents over the large parcel bill. There was an unwritten but understood agreement that we didn't get into the school's affairs and they don't get into our affairs. I have to be a little nervous about this because we have an agreement with the city of New York does not mean that the large parcel has gone away. It only means that when the state decides they want to change the value of the reservoir on their own, we could be back into it again. I personally would rather have a little something on my side where I can say, listen, we didn't get into your business, and we don't want you in our business when it comes to taxes and your tax dollars. Also, I would be more amenable to a resolution that just addressed fiscal responsibility other than the educational part of it, because I'm not qualified to know which would be educationally best for the children. That's not my forte, and I don't think I'm qualified to tell the school district that. But mostly, my biggest concern is the rapport we have with the school district and the large parcel bill rearing its ugly head again. We've made terrific headway with that, and I really don't want to jeopardize it. So that's just how I feel.
Can I comment to that? Because
certainly.
The Ontario School Board invited or sent letters to each one of us asking us to attend their board meeting and weigh in on what we thought about their plans. That was when we were supposed to go up to Phoenicia. And I attended that meeting and listened to it. 80%, at least 80% of the people, and not just from the town of Olive, other towns, said that this plan is wrong. Also, Woodstock has weighed in on a resolution saying that they wanted to keep the Xena school open, and Phoenicia said that they wanted to keep the Phoenicia school open. Now, what they're doing to us is they're keeping Bennett open, but what they're doing is separating our children and making them go to two different schools. So my neighbor, because I live on this side of the road, is going to have to go to Phoenicia, and because I live on the other side, my best friend has to go to Woodstock for 3 years. Then they move them around again, and this plan, according to their own consultants, said that it's unsustainable, and it's going to cost the taxpayers the most money.
Well, number one, when you keep talking about taxes, and I agree with there's a fiscal responsibility here, but the 2% tax cap addresses the fiscal responsibility, number one. Number two, I understand perfectly what Phoenicia and Xena are doing. They tend to lose a school. They're trying to save a physical entity in their community. We don't tend to lose a school. We don't tend to. They're not going to close the Bennett School. It's still going to be there for the activities and whatever. So,
well,
I have to I'd like to add, I do not feel qualified as a town board member to make a decision as far as curriculum and how the school board determines how to do their job. It's not my, I don't feel qualified to make that decision. And it has been a long-standing rule, unwritten rule, that we don't involve ourselves in the town board business any more than the school board would tell us how to run our zoning department or any of the regulations within the town. So I don't feel that we should be involved in that manner. The Bennett Elementary School will still be remaining open, and it just needs to be noted also that Xena is Kingston School District, not Onteora, so that's a whole different educational issue. I feel that we don't have the expertise to make recommendations as to what programs that the Onteora School District needs to be making.
I'm good.
Can I say something? I'm a product of the consolidation of the Kingston schools back in the 60s. And let me tell you that half of my friends went to New Paltz and the rest of us went to Kingston. And to this day, I don't go to any reunions because whatever cliques were in Kingston when I went there, back as a young person, they're still there to this day. And that no one from the village where I grew up will go to any of the Kingston school reunions, okay? So that's because the town was split down the middle. And that's what the school board is trying to do with this bookend thing, is split our town down the middle. And I think that the town board should stand up and say something about what they're doing to our children and their future. Anything that where I would want to have participated in extracurricular activities after the consolidation and the move where I had to go to Kingston, I was rejected. And not because of lack of talent or whatever, but because there were these cliques, whether it was a softball team, whether it was cheerleading, no matter what it was, the Kingston group got picked first, the Rosendale group. So I'm telling you, really think about this, about splitting up our kids.
Yes.
I would just like to say, I support this resolution mainly because the school board is totally or almost exclusively Shandaken. And I don't think the town of Olive has a fair voice on the school board. I also feel you could say that there still will be a Bennett school. There'll be 2 classes or maybe 3 in that school. It's not going to be the same school. And I don't have any children. I could say this, my children have finished with Bennett. I have no elementary children. But I don't think, again, I agree with Peter, it's not fiscally responsible. It's not addressing the issue. 2 years down the road, they're going to have to address the issue of closing. And I think that Olive needs to be vocal, whether it's this resolution or something maybe scaled back. You know, I think you need to make a statement that, you know, Olive stands with the parents, because there's a lot of parents in this school, in this town, that are very upset about this change. So
I would feel comfortable with a different resolution. I would feel comfortable saying that the town of Olive does support their children, and would like to see what is going to be in the best interest of the children of Olive. But I just can't, in my good conscience, state that I know more about how the curriculum should be handled than people that's their job.
I'm a parent of a Bennett student, also parent of a high schooler, and I've been following this issue really closely for a couple of months that this has been on the table. And I want to point out a few facts. First of all,